All right, I'm going to talk about Ohio State quarterback Will Howard, talk about keys for success for Will Howard against Texas defense. We got 3 keys we're going to dive into, and we got a few clips demonstrating what each of these keys are. But before we talk about Howard, before we talk about the keys, before we look at the film of Will Howard, let's talk about Texas defense for 1 to 2 minutes. Then we'll dive into Will Howard. This Texas defense is going to be one of the best defenses that Ohio State has faced so far this year. Maybe even the best, depending what you think about Michigan, some of the defenses that Ohio State has faced. And don't let the 31 points against Arizona State kind of fool you, right? With less than 7 minutes left in the game, Texas had only given up 8 points against Arizona State, and 2 of those points came off of safeties. Things got a little crazy. Of course, a ton of points got scored, and Texas ended up winning 38 or 39-31 in overtime. But that defense, until the end of the game, played pretty good. They were on the field the entire time. Again, only 8 points with about 7-ish minutes left in the game, and 2 of those points was off of safety. Even against Clemson, they scored 24 points. Cade Klubnik made some really nice, really impressive throws, some tight covered throws that kept Clemson in the game. Without that, Texas probably runs away with the game. The number 1 defense in the SEC when it comes to points per game. Number 1 defense in the SEC in yards per game. So one of the better defenses in the game. And with that said, Tennessee was number 2 defense in the SEC in yards per game. We saw what Ohio State did to them. Tennessee was number 3 defense in the SEC when it came to points given up per game. We saw what they did to them. But still, Texas defense, I think, is going to be one of the better defenses Ohio State has faced. And Texas, one of their main keys is their ability to turn or to get takeaways, especially against the pass. They're number 1 in the SEC in interceptions with 21 interceptions. So they're definitely a stout defense. They're definitely a defense that's had a lot of success. But this is by far their biggest challenge offensively coming up for them. They can't have any mistakes. They can't have any slip up against Ohio State's offense. So let's talk about Will Howard. Let's talk about these keys for success for Howard against Texas defense. If I wanted to make a real quick video, I would just say for Will Howard, do the exact same thing you did against Tennessee and against Oregon, and it's going to be tough for Ohio State to lose, right? But trying to make a little video, so let's talk about these 3 keys. So key number 1 for Will Howard: contested throws, completing contested throws. He did this against Tennessee, and he did this against Oregon these past 2 weeks. Yes, there were some schemed open plays where the receivers were running wide open, but he threw some absolute dimes. Against Tennessee, Tennessee was in pretty good coverage and just threw it where only the defender could catch it, or actually where only the receiver could catch it. That's exactly what he did. He did that several times against Oregon too, right? Several times. We're going to look at that here in a second as well. We talked about the only reason why I think Clemson was close in this game for some of the ball game was because of Klubnik's ability to do that. Key number 2: adjust to whatever the defense is going to throw at you. Whether they blitz a lot or whether they drop 7 or 8. That's something that Will Howard's been able to do extremely well, especially in the playoffs. Against Tennessee, whenever they blitzed him, he was 12 of 15 for 118 yards passing. And Tennessee blitzed very similar to the amount that they dropped 7 or 8. I get 7 or 8, or whenever Tennessee dropped 7 or 8 against Will Howard, he was 15 of 19 for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. He actually performed better when they dropped 7 or 8. Against Oregon, they dropped 7 or 8 the majority of the time. Only 4 of his dropbacks came against the blitz. Oregon really tried to confuse Will Howard, which obviously didn't work out very well. And against Oregon, whenever Oregon would drop 7 or 8, he was 15 of 22 for 308 yards, 3 touchdowns against Oregon. So in 2 playoff games, when the defense has chosen to not try to bring pressure, when the defense has chosen to drop 7 or 8, he is, let's see, can I do this math real quick? He's 27, 15 plus 22, what is that 37? 27 of 37 for over 426 yards and 5 touchdowns. Actually, for 513 yards and 5 touchdowns. I may be off my math a little bit, but regardless, he has torched defenses. So maybe Texas says, hey, we don't want to let people get behind us. We have to drop 7 or 8. Or maybe they say, screw it, let's bring pressure and see if we can mess something up. So regardless what they throw at Will Howard, be able to adjust to whatever the defense throws at you. Then key number 3, legs be a factor. Use your athletic ability. Now, you don't have to go running around now and scrambling all that much. I don't think it's necessarily to even run, but some design rollouts. We saw this against Oregon. Some partial rollouts where you turn around, some play action, partial rollouts where you turn around and throw it to the other side of the field. Just utilizing your legs just enough to be a threat to the defense. He had negative 3 yards on the ground against Oregon. Against Tennessee, he had 37, which was actually, I was surprised to see this. It was the most yards he's had on the ground the entire season in one game. He's an athletic quarterback, right? But he hasn't needed to utilize his his legs as a runner that often, but just utilize it just enough to get defense out of position and to be a threat. So those are the main keys I have for Will Howard. Make contested throws, adjust to whatever the defense throws at you, and have your legs be the factor. But to make it really simple, just play like you played against Tennessee, play like you played against Oregon, and you're probably going to win the game. So with that said, we got a few clips that we're going to watch that hopefully does a good job demonstrating the type of throws Will Howard will need to make. But Ohio State fans, go ahead and let me know your thoughts and what you think the keys are for Howard. And if you're a Texas fan watching this, we have a Quinn Ewers video out that you can go on and check out as well. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into these 5-ish clips we have of Will Howard. For Ohio State fans, if you've seen the channel before, you know this is broadcast footage. I do apologize. I have to slow it down so YouTube doesn't get mad at me. We have some All-22 that we'll look at in the offseason, but for right now, we use the broadcast footage. So key number 1, making contested throws. I got one clip we're going to watch. I could have chosen several. That there was several against Tennessee. I probably should have chosen the one against Oregon over the middle of the field to Mbuka, but I chose this one. So bottom of the screen to Smith. It's pretty good coverage. Deep ball downfield. Actually really good coverage. I'll pause it in a second so you can see, but it's a really good throw. Good coverage. Able to throw only will a defender, or excuse me, only where his receiver can catch it. And Smith, of course, is a mismatch to whoever is guarding him. Oregon brings 4. We talked about how little pressure Oregon brought against Ohio State, against Will Howard. Look at this right here. If you were for the quarterback's view, you would say there's no shot. He is covered. Well, he throws it exactly to the spot where only Smith can catch it. Smith makes a great adjustment, catches it. There's no room for error. Really nice contested throw. Klubnik had some really nice throws against Texas defense, contested throws that kept them in the game. All right, 3rd and 3. So be prepared where the defense throws at you. Here's a blitz against Tennessee. They bring 5. We're going to see it's a 3rd and 3, just a short check down type throw, but it keeps the drive alive, and it almost led to points. This was when Howard threw the pick against Tennessee right before half. But this play here almost led to points. It's a simple play. Take what the defense gives you. The defense decides to blitz, replace the ball to throw the ball to where the defender came. That's exactly what Howard did here. Another example against Tennessee, they only bring 4. So they drop 7, having success whenever they are dropping 7. The Tennessee blitzed a lot more than the Oregon blitz. And Howard had a ton of success against Tennessee blitzing. Good ball there from Will Howard. Now he's wide open, right, but still able to read the defense, have success regardless of the defense throws at you. That's key number 2. If they blitz, have success. If they drop 7 or 8, have success. Be able to adapt the defense throws. And the last key, utilizing your legs just enough. You don't have to be you don't have to go and run necessarily. Just utilize your legs. Be athletic. This is what happens here. Partial roll here against Oregon. Turns around, able to push the ball downfield, gets the defenders out of position. He had 2 throws like this, 2 plays like this. This is a touchdown to Smith, right? Let me move myself. I apologize, I keep moving myself. But yeah, this is a deep throw to Smith, wide open. The threat of his legs, but also the threat of him rolling out to his side and throwing on the other side is what got the defense out of position. But utilizing his athleticism, very similar throw here. Play action, rolls out this way, comes back and throws, I believe, a corner to Smith. This is more of a contested throw to Smith. If you want to use your legs, if you think you need to use his legs, this contested, somewhat, yeah, that's a good throw. If you think he needs to use his legs as a runner more, sure. But I think just the ability as a quarterback that can roll out in the pocket a little bit, I think that is plenty for Will Howard. Again, he had -3 yards rushing against Oregon. Didn't really need it. Had some yards against Tennessee, even though he didn't need that, but he may against Texas. Maybe Texas shuts down the defense. You do not know, right? Like, I know Ohio State's been rolling, and if Howard and the team plays like they played against Tennessee and Oregon, it's going to be tough to stop. If Texas can shut you down somehow, some way, then Will Howard can potentially utilize his legs to get the offense going. But Ohio State fans, I want to hear from you. What do you think the keys are for Will Howard? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, what the keys are for success and what your expectations are. If you're a Texas fan, we put out a Quinn Ewers video. It's already out, so go ahead and check out that version. Ohio State fans, you may be interested as well, so go check that out. Regardless, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if this is your first time tuning in, please consider subscribing. We put out a lot of quarterback content. College quarterback content is kind of our niche, so please consider subscribing. Like the video, share. It helps us grow. Thanks for following us along. We'll see you next time. Peace.